Thank you, Zubair. Now let's call upon the third participant, Navyaja Rao, with the case title CVST with SAH.
Good morning, everyone. This is Navyaja Rao from Osmania Medical College, 4th year, presenting cerebral sinovenous thrombosis, CSVT, leading to subarachnoid hemorrhage. A male patient of 50 years of age came to casualty on July 2nd with the chief complaint of weakness of right upper and lower limb since 2 days. There is a history of slurring of speech since 2 days, history of present illness, male patient age 50 years, not a known hypertensive and diabetics, and a known chronic alcoholic and smoker, had a history of alcoholic intake 5 days back, and complaint of 3 episodes of vomiting, which is non-projectile, 4 days back on 29th June, for which the patient was taken to Gandhi Hospital and was treated there and then sent home. And there is a complaint of weakness of right upper and lower limb on the next day, that is 30th June, associated with the complaint of slurring of speech, and there is no complaint of seizures, trauma, and bowel and bladder are normal. Past history, there are no TB, asthma, coronary artery disease, seizures, diabetes mellitus, hypertension, and a non-alcoholic and smoker since 20 years. No significant family history. On examination, patient is conscious, incoherent, moderately built and moderately nourished. Patient is febrile. Blood pressure 170 by 110 mmHg, pulse 90 per minute, and heart S1, S2 heard. Lungs bilateral air entry positive. No palpable organomegaly. CNS people's normal reactive. Power on the upper limb right side 3/5 and left side 4/5, and lower limb 4/5 and 5/5. And reflexes are normal with +2 biceps, tendon, triceps, supinator, Achilles, knee, everything is normal. Plantar on the right side it's exaggerated, left side it's normal. Conclusion drawn from the history: cerebrovascular attack with right hemiplegia. Previous reports: non-contrast CT brain, hemorrhagic and non-hemorrhagic venous infarcts, subarachnoid hemorrhage in left sylvian fissure and temporoparietal sulci, and acute venous thrombosis. Investigations: complete blood picture is normal with a blood picture of normocytic and normochromic. ESR 10 mmHg, it's normal limit, and complete urine examination, it's normal range. Fasting blood glucose, serum urea, creatinine, serum electrolytes within normal range, and prothrombin time is normal. Then proteinase is normal, and antithrombin 3 SA is normal. Homocysteine is 17.26, which is high. Factor V Leiden mutation, heterozygous positive, it is abnormal. And echodoppler study, dilated RA, RV, PA, moderate TR and mild PH, impression of deep vein thrombosis with chronic pulmonary thromboembolism, CT scan of chest, multiple discrete and confluent nodular opacities noted in the anterior segment of the upper lobe, suggestive of patchy pneumonitis, and CT scan of brain, linear hyperdensities noted in the left and right parietal lobes, left sylvian fissure, suggestive of the subarachnoid hemorrhage, bilateral ethmoid sinusitis, hyperdense superior sagittal and straight sinus noted, hyperdensities noted in the white matter of left posterior parietal and occipital lobe, which is suggestive of the venous infarct. An MRI brain, alter signal intensity, which is heterogeneously hypertensive on TTW, and flare and T1W1 images with patchy restriction of diffuse weighted image noted in left and right parietal region, suggestive of hemorrhagic infarct. Loss of normal void in the superior sagittal sinus. MRV, superior sagittal sinus could be made out thrombosis, and right transverse and sigmoid sinus appear narrow in caliber, chronic thrombosed, and CT pulmonary angiogram, segmental pulmonary thromboembolism. Diagnosis: a 50 years male patient, known chronic alcohol and smoker, on examination and investigations done, is diagnosed as cerebral sinovenous thrombosis leading to subarachnoid hemorrhage and complications of chronic pulmonary embolism with right heart failure. Treatment: Monosef mannitol for hemodilation, Rantac, and citicoline for the hemiplegia, and amlodipine calcium channel blocker, optinurum, and IV fluids, atorvastatin and eptoin, Librium, and heparin for anticoagulation, acetylcholine for vitamin K antagonist, and imodipine. Follow up: Treat with acetone vitamin K antagonist lifelong as there is a subarachnoid hemorrhage, and maintain prothrombin time in a range of 2.5 to 3.5 seconds. Prognosis good with lifelong anticoagulation therapy. Conclusion: the etiology of COSVT is due to the factor V lead-in mutation hypercoagulable disorder. Subarachnoid hemorrhage is a rare initial presentation of the cerebrospinal venous thrombosis. The presence of subarachnoid blood in the cerebral convexities, sparing basal cisterns, even in the absence of parenchymal lesions, could be a radiological clue to the non-aneurysmal origin of the subarachnoid hemorrhage like COSVT. And there is unprovoked deep vein thrombosis leading to a pulmonary thromboembolism, which caused right heart failure. In the exceptional circumstances of subarachnoid hemorrhage in cerebral venous thrombosis, anticoagulation therapy is the mainstay of the treatment.
This case of subarachnoid hemorrhage, how do you give anticoagulants? They produce further hemorrhage, no?
It is a secondary
Whenever there is a cerebral hemorrhage, they are absolutely anticoagulants are contraindicated.
Yes, sir. In subarachnoid hemorrhage, heparin is contraindicated. As in the cerebral venous thrombosis, the main indication is the heparin, first line of therapy. As it is a secondary cause for the CSVT, subarachnoid is the secondary outcome for the CSVT. Then we treat with heparin. Then we shift to the vitamin K antagonist. The patient has become normal. If it is primarily subarachnoid hemorrhage, we will treat with triple H, hemodilution and hypertension and hypovolemia. But as it is a primary case of cerebral venous thrombosis leading to the subarachnoid hemorrhage, we are treating with the heparin, sir.
What are the ECG features of pulmonary embolism? Because in this patient you are saying pulmonary embolism is also there. Can you diagnose by ECG any suspicion of pulmonary embolism by ECG?
We didn't do, sir. We did echo Doppler study.
What are the echo Doppler features of pulmonary
dilated
embolism?
RA, right atrium, right ventricle, pulmonary artery with a mild TR with a pulmonary. So impression deep vein thrombosis with pulmonary thromboembolisms.
What are the X-ray findings of pulmonary embolism?
There is a in fact dark areas in the pulmonary veins, sir.
Right-sided hemiparesis is there. Right-sided hemiparesis is there.
Yes, sir.
What is the cause here? The cortical venous thrombosis is the cause, or the SCH is the cause? What is there? Because from the examination I find the deep tendon jerks are normal.
Yes.
I find contradictory examination findings. On one side you say that the deep tendon jerks are normal. I said you say the plantar is downgoing and there is a hypo. So I want to know whether it's upper motor neuron type or what type it is. What is the site of lesion?
There is no lesion, sir. There is no non-aneurysmal origin of the subarachnoid hemorrhage. It is only the thrombosis
How
of
do you explain the clinical findings of right hemiparesis? It's what? It's upper motor neuron type? Definitely? You go by it or not?
Yes, sir.
Right side hemiparesis.
Hemiparesis.
And then usually in upper motor type you expect some sort of exaggerated reflexes.
Yes.
But the deep tendon jerks are normal here. And then you find plantars are downgoing.
Yes, sir.
So that's why can you explain this sort of thing? This is one question. Second one is how do you explain the paradox between thrombosis on the other side and SH on the other side? Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes,
and
sir.
in what other conditions you find this sort of paradox? First answer the first question, clinical question.
Yes, sir. In as there is a cerebral venous thrombosis, there is a compression causing ischemia. The parietal lobes and frontal lobes are involved. So there is a motor areas are involved, sir, and more upper motor. So it is the cerebral cortical veins are involved. So it is hemiparesis, secondary cause.
What is the other condition where in emergency setting you commonly encounter simultaneously both thrombosis and hemorrhage in the same setting?
Thrombosis and hemorrhage, infections, any trauma. The condition.
Can you explain that the paradox of? The first question can you answer that the right-sided hemiparesis is there.
Yes, sir.
Deep tendon jerks are normal. Plantars are downgoing. So do you go by the hemiparesis? Where do you place the lesion? It is the cortical or is it cerebral parenchymal? What is it?
Not parenchymal, sir. Parenchymal lesions is not present, sir. Only the cortical veins, there are only cerebral interhemispheric fissures are involved in this. So there is no parenchymal involvement. Only upper motor neuron lesions, sir.
What is the commonest condition where homocysteine is elevated in the present setting?
Homocystinemia.
Commonest condition where homocysteine can be elevated.
Arterial thrombosis.
Commonest condition. Okay.
Li-
Insulin resistance syndrome, right?
yes.
Any audience questions? Okay, thank you, Navyaja.